There is a woman who can smile at you one day and disappear from your life the next. No fight, no warning, no long goodbye speech, just silence that feels louder than any argument. People call her cold, but they never saw what happened before that silence began. They never saw the night she stayed up replaying your words, searching for meaning that wasn't there. They never saw how many times she almost said something but chose peace instead. She didn't cut you off because she stopped caring. She cut you off because caring hurt too much. For a long time, she gave more than she ever received, and no one noticed the difference. She remembered your birthday, your bad days, your favorite coffee order, your smallest fears. You barely remembered to ask how her day went, and even then, you weren't really listening. She kept giving because that's what she believed love was supposed to look like. She thought if she loved hard enough, the other person would eventually learn to love her back the same way. But love that only flows one way slowly turns into exhaustion disguised as loyalty. She started overthinking every message, every delay, every change in your tone of voice. She would ask herself if she said something wrong, even when she had done nothing at all. This is what happens when someone gives their heart to people who never learned to hold it gently. The mind starts working overtime, trying to fix problems that were never really hers to fix. She analyzed conversations for hours, searching for hidden signs of rejection or disappointment. This isn't weakness. This is what emotional exhaustion looks like from the inside. When a woman overthinks this much, it usually means she has been hurt quietly for a long time. She learned to predict people's moods just to protect herself from being hurt again. Every silence from you became a puzzle she tried desperately to solve alone. She wasn't being dramatic, she was surviving a pattern that kept repeating itself. Slowly, without even noticing, she began pulling pieces of herself away from you. She stopped sharing her days, her thoughts, her tiny victories, because it felt unsafe again. Withdrawal doesn't happen overnight, it builds quietly after too many unanswered emotional needs. She wasn't punishing you, she was protecting the last pieces of her own peace. Silence became her armor, because words had stopped being heard the way she needed. This is where most people misunderstand her the most, calling her distant or heartless. But silence is often the loudest sign that someone has been trying to speak for a long time. She didn't leave because she stopped loving you, she left because she started loving herself again. Somewhere along the way, she realized she was pouring from an empty cup every single day. She kept asking herself why she always had to be the one holding everything together. Why was she always the one checking in, apologizing first, trying to fix things quietly? That question became the beginning of everything changing inside her. She started noticing patterns she had ignored for years, patterns that always ended the same way. She gave warmth to people who only reached out when they needed something from her. She excused behavior that hurt her, calling it understanding instead of naming it as pain. But understanding without boundaries slowly turns a soft heart into a tired one. One day, something inside her just stopped reacting the way it used to. Not out of anger, but out of quiet emotional survival she didn't even plan. She realized she had spent years explaining herself to people who never truly tried to understand her. She realized closure isn't something everyone deserves, especially those who never gave her peace. Cutting someone off without explanation isn't cruelty, it's often self-protection built from experience. She learned that not every door needs a goodbye speech to be closed forever. Some people take advantage of explanations, using them to manipulate their way back in. She knew that once she explained, the guilt and arguments would start all over again. So instead, she chose silence because silence cannot be twisted into something it never was. This wasn't about revenge, it was about finally choosing herself after years of choosing everyone else. She began to understand that peace matters more than being understood by people who never listened. Healing looked different than she expected. It didn't feel dramatic, it felt strangely quiet. She stopped waiting for apologies that were never going to come. She stopped needing closure from people who never gave her honesty while they had her. Every time she walked away without a word, she reclaimed a small piece of her power. It wasn't coldness, it was the quiet strength of someone who was done being hurt. People who knew her only on the surface never saw this transformation happening underneath. They only saw the silence, not the years of patience that led to it. They only saw her walking away, not the storm she survived before that moment. This is the psychology no one talks about. The exhaustion behind emotional strength. Women like her aren't heartless. They are simply tired of explaining their pain to people who never tried to understand it. They aren't difficult, they are careful, because they've been hurt by people who once seemed safe. Every boundary she built wasn't there to punish you, it was there to protect her healing. She finally understood that love without respect is just another quiet form of exhaustion. She finally understood that peace felt better than being chosen halfway by anyone. If you've ever felt this way, you are not cold, you are simply healing. If you've ever disappeared from someone's life without saying why, you already know this feeling. You didn't owe anyone an explanation for choosing yourself after years of losing yourself. Sometimes walking away quietly is the loudest form of self-respect a person can show. You don't have to explain your peace to people who never explain their actions. If this story feels like your story, maybe it's time to trust that quiet voice inside you. The one that tells you it's okay to walk away without needing permission.